And by the way, you speak six languages, right?
I speak French,
Okay.
Italian, English, Spanish, Swedish, a little bit of Russian, Swedish, and a little bit of Portuguese. So seven. And
Seven.
I was speaking a little bit of Russian, but it's been too much time, and the construction of the language is so different. So I try to catch up sometimes, but it's so hard for me.
Hello.
Hello, dear. How are you? I'm so sorry for the delay.
No worries, no worries. How are you doing? How was the week?
I you.
Good, good.
It's not finished yet, but hope very soon.
Nice. So you're in Chile, right?
Yes, I'm in Chile.
Santiago.
Santiago. Yes.
Cool. By the way, I've been
Yeah.
there twice, and
Really?
yeah, that's why I'm excited because first of all, you're the first guest, plus you're from Chile, and it's one of the
Wow.
countries that I really like. I've been there for almost a year, and it can't get any better. It was awesome. So
Wow, that's great to hear that. But I'm not Chilean. I'm here in Chile for like 6 years, but I'm originally from France.
friends. Okay, cool,
Yes.
cool.
Yes. What about you? Where are you?
I'm in Morocco.
Oh, that's the best country of the world. I've been so many times in Morocco. I love it. Tu parles français du coup?
Un peu, oui.
D'accord,
Je le comprends
d'accord.
parfaitement, mais au niveau de la communication, je trouve des difficultés encore.
Oh bah non, tu parles couramment.
Presque, presque couramment. Mais
Bravo.
au Maroc, je pense, in Morocco, almost 30% of the population can speak French fluently. But then
Yes,
it gets tough for the rest because in Morocco, if you don't speak French, you're not gonna make it in the market. You know, it's the
totally.
minimum. Yeah, it's the minimum. We cannot use your own language without. We all love our languages
Of course.
and native languages, but in terms of business, it's not that strong. So you have at least to learn French. After that, you have to learn English. Now it's taking over, so you have to keep up with what's going on. So
Totally, totally. And that, that's well, I'm very surprised because I was very surprised when I went to Morocco because, like in the big cities, young people they are speaking perfect French, but like when you go to like a countryside or the mountainside, it's like they speak only Arabic, and some of them are speaking like a dialect, right?
yeah, yeah. Actually, there are so many local languages in Morocco. Berber or Amazigh.
Yes, Berber.
Exactly. So, I think because Morocco is in kind of in the middle of so many influences, that's why we have Berber. We have the influence of Berbers, and we have the influence of Arabs, Friends, Spanish because we're close to Spain. So in the north, so many people can speak Spanish fluently. So it's a plus, to be honest. One of the things that, at least, yeah, I'm Moroccan. Morocco is not the greatest country, of course. We have problems, but at least it's you have this advantage. You can easily speak three languages
Of course.
minimum. You can speak your native language, and then French, and then English. That's the minimum, and then you can add another one,
Totally.
maybe.
And that's exactly the contrary here in Latin America.
Yes, yes, you're right. That's why in the beginning I was like, she's Chilean and she speaks six languages. I was like,
No,
and
no.
then yeah, and then I saw half French and half Swiss, right?
Yes,
So I was like,
yes,
yeah, now it makes sense.
exactly.
Yeah, it was surprising when I went the first time when I went to Chile to Santiago.
Yeah.
I think it's just 15% or so, between 10% and 15% of the population that can actually speak English. And I was like, "Mm, I don't know, but Spanish is strong. I think that's why you
It's a
can.
very spoken language in the world, so it's the second one. But
Yeah.
anyway, you know, you have to speak English anywhere in the world, and you know, in Latin America, and that's the main issue of my work because you know I work in human resources in IT, and we have a lot of clients who are working like nearshore or offshore from Canada, from US, and they need IT talents that speaks at least a little bit of English. And here, Musin, there is like it's a one person speaking at least a little bit of English. And people that speak English, they can ask the double of the salary.
Yeah, it's an advantage there if you speak two
It's a,
languages. Yeah. Okay, cool. And by the way, have how long have you been there in Chile?
it's been almost 7 years.
7 years. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
7 years. And by the way, you speak six languages, right?
I speak French,
Okay.
Italian, English, Spanish, Swedish, a little bit of Russian, Swedish, and a little bit of Portuguese. So seven. And
Seven.
I was speaking a little bit of Russian, but it's been too much time, and the construction of the language is so different. So I try to catch up sometimes, but it's so hard for me.
Okay.
And I had also some notions of Korean because I've been living in Korea for almost 2 years.
Okay, interesting. Interesting.
Yes.
Okay, and which one was the easiest one for you learning
I would say Spanish.
Spanish? Okay,
Yeah.
let me guess why. And by the way, it was the same for me when I was trying to learn Spanish. I was surprised, but that it sounds different, but it's not so different from French. So many similar words, so many, and the structure of the language, like the grammar and everything, it's similar. You feel like you already know, I don't know, like 25%, 30%, you already have this advantage, right?
Exactly. And you know, it's a Latin root. So from because you know when you learn a lot of languages, you just realize how the words, the grammar, the syntax are built, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So I guess the more you learn languages, the easiest is to understand how it works. I don't say it's easier to learn it, but you can understand how it works. And Spanish for me, it was like understandable without speaking anything. But you know, I would say it's the same for every language, Musin. You can say that you can speak, communicate, but to learn a language properly with a nice vocabulary, without any grammar mistakes or something like that, it's the hardest. To speak well a languages, it's very hard.
Yeah, and which language are you using right now at work? Is it Spanish or English or both? I think both.
Most of the time is Spanish, but I I use sometimes Portuguese for Brazil because we have some project with Brazil. I also use, I would say 20% of the time English, 5% of the time Portuguese, and the rest, like the 75% of Spanish.
I see. And by the way, same thing goes with Portuguese. It sounds different again. It sounds so different.
Yes.
But it's similar. And I've been to Brazil as well for just a couple
Mm-hmm.
of days, and I realized that people can understand Spanish. They can understand Spanish,
Yeah.
uh, but the rest, like Chileans, most likely they can't understand Portuguese, but in Brazil, a lot of them can easily understand Spanish.
Yes,
So,
that's true.
as you said, it only takes you the first language to find it easy for to add other languages.
Yes.
If you already have French, let's say for example French, the next one would be, let's say, Spanish. It'll be easy. Again, Portuguese, easy. And then Italian as
Yes,
well. It's
Italian it's easier than Portuguese
okay.
because the order of the words are quite similar, whereas in Portuguese it's not that similar.
Okay.
It's the construction is not the same. So the easiest in the right order, I would say Spanish, English, Italian, then Portuguese, then Swedish, and then comes the rest, like Korean and Russian. But to be really honest, I think that the one of the hardest is French.
French. Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
I can
for the
I can confirm.
pronunciation,
Yes, it's not easy at all. It's
it's
not
not
easy.
easy.
And as you said, pronunciation in the accent, it's so hard to get that French accent. You can
Yes.
get the English accent, that's fine. You can get the Chilean accent, and I remember it was so different from Spanish. It's like
Oh
Chilean,
yes, it's
Chileno,
a totally different language.
Chileno.
Chileno po weon, kachay la wea.
Yes, yes. So it's so different, and it's fast and everything. But then I realized French, the accent, to get the proper accent of French people, it's hard. It's hard, so hard.
Yes.
You can easily realize that I'm Moroccan. Once I open my mouth and speak, you're gonna know that I'm Moroccan, even
Yes.
without seeing my face. That's for
Yes.
sure. So it's hard. Okay, what I want to ask you is about your career and
Yes.
how did knowing or speaking many languages helped you?
You know, Musin, that's a very nice question because I didn't really make the link. But now, like for a short time, I can realize that my ability for languages helped me so much in my career. You know, I'm the managing director of the IT brand of Manpower Group. Manpower Group, which is the very big, huge multinational company about human resources. So I'm leading the IT part of Manpower. I'm 33 years old. I took this job 2 years ago, 31 years old. I was the youngest at like a worldwide level. And languages helped me twice. First of all, obviously, it had some value on my curriculum to speak that much languages, and it helps me to be able to communicate with anybody in the world within the Manpower Group, right? But it helped me like much more in another area. It's about the mindset, you know. When you
Yeah,
learn languages, when you speak languages, when you are interested in languages, it means that you are interested and you learn from the heart of a culture. There is nothing more intimate and deep cultural than the language. So I guess that if I am open-minded, I'm interested, I'm easily adaptable, that's because of the languages. And that's the languages I learned from my travels, from my studies, from my previous year work. And definitely, I would say that languages helped me so much in my career.
yeah. The more you know a language, you feel like you belong to another culture. It's a
Yes.
new door that you just opened, and I can feel that. I remember when I was in Chile, and by the way, it was a unique experience because of the fact that I couldn't speak any Spanish in the beginning. Any Spanish. It was just
Any Spanish?
nothing. I was just like, "Hola, cómo estás?" That's it. And I tried, step by step to learn, because job was working was in English, so, and life is in Spanish, so you have to do them both. And
Yes.
I remember even my English wasn't as good as it is right now. It's not perfect yet. It's not, it's not so fluent, maybe advanced, but at least I find myself at ease speaking it. But for Spanish, I wasn't able to speak Spanish, and I lived the whole experience, picking up the language, and it was so unique. And by the way, the good thing about Chile and why I really loved that country is that they're so nice, open. Um, when it comes to, you don't feel ashamed making
No.
mistakes. No, you're special. And the difference between some countries, when you go to certain countries, you feel like you're different just because you don't speak fluently that language, X language. You feel different. You don't belong, and it's a problem. In Chile, it's not you're different, you're special,
Yes.
you're special. So they give you this feeling. So you feel like you're encouraged to speak, just make mistakes, that's fine, and you go, and this way you improve fast. So yeah.
Totally. But that's important what you're saying, because it's not the case like in US or in France or in Asia, because here people, that it's even more than Argentina or Brazil or any other countries of Latin America, because Chile was very isolated by the Cordillera de los Andes. So there were no tourism, they were enclosed in this little and long country at the other side of the world. Wow, yes, you are special. And if you show that you want to speak like them with the modism, with the
Yeah,
dialect,
yeah,
they are even more proud.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Whereas in French, if you don't speak French, you are nothing, and they
yeah,
will not make the effort to make themselves understandable for people, for foreign people.
yeah. Unfortunately, not just in France, even here in Morocco.
I guess so.
Unfortunately, same thing goes with that. Here in Morocco, if you can't speak French fluently without making any mistake, it's bad. It's gonna look bad,
Yes.
and the people gonna judge you. It's fact. It's fact.
It's judgmental. Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, so now that you speak many languages, I believe that at a certain time, I believe that you were learning two languages at the same time, right?
Yes. Like when I was at the college.
Okay, which languages?
uh, like it's not college, sorry, it was high school, sorry. i
Okay,
was learning I was learning Italian and English at the same time.
Italian
But
and English. Okay,
yes, because it's very important to tell you that where I was living in France, it's in Chambéry, it's very close to Italy, and they were like how can I say it? Like reciprocity agreements with a city in Italy, Torino, which is very close from my hometown, and that's why my high school had a special program, like bilingual program
okay.
in Italian.
Mm-hmm.
So I started to speak Italian very, very young, like I was 11 or 12.
Mm-hmm.
And I arrived at the point that I was speaking the same in Italian that in French. I had like 8 hours of Italian a week. I was doing geography, history in Italian, and I was speaking. I was like, it was almost native Italian.
I see. I see. And I believe it's a language that I really like. I don't speak
Yes,
it, but
beautiful.
it sounds cool. It sounds a little
Yes,
bit
it's
sexy.
romantic.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, and do you think that people can actually speak or learn two languages at the same time? Is it something that you recommend, or if you have the option to focus on only one and then move on to the other, what do you think?
That's a very great question, Mushin. I think it depends of what is your disposition for the language. If you are obliged to learn a language for work, like I've seen some people trying to learn French because they wanted a job in French, or if it comes from your inside, like it's not, it depends the context. I think it's totally doable to learn two or even maybe three languages at the same time. Um, but if you have like kind of like if it doesn't comes from you, maybe focus on one at the time. I think, Musin, our brain is so incredible. It can do
Absolutely,
so
yeah.
much things. So I'm sure when you are passionate, because that's my case, I'm passionate about languages. When we were traveling with my parents, when I was young, in the Guide du Routard, at the end, you have also like basic vocabulary. Like, can I have a Coca-Cola? Can I have the bill? Or something like this. So I was learning in Turkish, in Greek, in Moroccan. Like, I was passionate about languages.
I see, yeah.
But also, I would like to tell you, Musin, that maybe our brain sometimes it has its own limits because I just told you that I was able to speak Italian fluently, but when I arrived to Chile, I was mixing so much Italian and Spanish. And now, for me to go, like sometimes I go to Italy when I do like a layover for my flight and I have to speak Italian. It's so hard for me. And I remember when I was speaking natively, fluently in Italian, it frustrates me so much.
I see.
So my own brain has its limits. And I can tell you that learning two languages at the same time, I think it's great, it's doable. But to practice two or three languages at the same time, it's a gymnastic for your brain.
Yeah, yeah. I share the same opinion as you. If you have the option to focus only on one and then another one and then move on to the next one, it's better. But you can do it, and I've been through the same situation as you when I was in Chile. I was forced to at least learn a little bit of Spanish, and at the same time, my English wasn't good enough for. I had to improve it as well. So um, it's doable. Yes, it's doable, but it's if you have the option to focus on only one, then it's better because it's a lifestyle. You turn everything into that language. So if you have two, it's gonna be a little bit tough, but it's doable.
But that you said the word, it's a lifestyle because you know, I don't know if I told you, but I'm expecting a baby now.
Okay,
And
nice.
and my husband is a
Congratulations.
Chilean. Thank you
Nice,
so much.
nice.
And I think that I've always dreamed for my children or my child to be like bilingual from scratch, from the beginning. And I'm so sure that it helps for being open-minded and to be eager to learn more languages.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And you're right about, you get it from the very beginning, from scratch, because, when you, there is this myth, but I don't know. The older you get, it gets hard to learn languages. I think it's not from the brain perspective. Maybe I'm not sure. This is just my opinion. But when you get older, it's more of the focus in life. You have more responsibilities and you have a job, and so you don't spend all of your time learning the languages you were when you were young. So the earlier the better, of course. So
Exactly. I think that the brain, when it's like a sponge, it's so easy to
Yeah,
learn. And I'm sure, like, to be older now, if you make me learn a language from scratch, I don't speak German. I don't speak German. That's so crazy because I'm half Swiss. And if you ask me to start to learn German, it will take me twice or three times the time that it could take me 5 or 10 years ago, you know?
yeah, yeah. In a way, it's everything is doable, but as you have a job, you don't have all of the time that you used to have, so it's tough.
Exactly.
It's tough. But
Exactly.
but at the same time, as you said, the more languages you know, it gets easy because you know what to do. You know exactly the steps you're gonna take in order to get to
Exactly.
fluency. Okay. Do you experience forgetting, grammar rules, words, and so on? And what do you do about it?
You know, I love this question because now it happens to me even in French. Because
Okay.
when I go back to my country, to my like mother tongue country, France, it happens that words comes in Spanish because sometimes one word in X language, like it can be English, Spanish, Italian, has a special meaning that in France or in English or in Italian you don't have. At least it's not in your mind. So my technique here, Musin, is always to rephrase what I
Yeah.
want to say. And that's a good practice that actually I have learned in my different, sorry, courses or lectures that I had. And I remember my teacher always told us, if you don't know a special word, rephrase it or explain it with your own words. The secret here is never be ashamed
Yeah.
about making mistakes.
Yeah. And
And something, sorry to interrupt you, but like also in Chile, they said that a French accent is very sexy when you speak
yeah.
Spanish.
Yeah.
So, I said, okay, if I make some mistakes, if my accent is sexy, it will be so much easier to make myself understandable, So I've never been like ashamed of making any kind of mistakes.
I see. Yeah, you remind me of something that I believe that so many language learners are doing, and in my opinion, it's wrong and it's so stressful. Learning a language shouldn't be stressful. It's something that actually you can enjoy. That's why rephrasing, as you said, is an option. Instead of stressing out and I don't know, like being ashamed, as you said, or being in an
Yes.
awkward moment, but you have the option to rephrase. That's fine. And the bad thing that so many language learners have is that they think that they should know everything, like I have to know every
Exactly.
single word in that language in order to be fluent. No, fluency is not about this. Fluency is about being able to speak and to express yourself. All of the ideas that can be explainable, that you can explain actually in different situations in life, if you can do that, then you're fluent. You don't have to know everything. Nobody knows everything. So,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. And that's like the goal, and maybe that's what is very different from like lectures and like very scholar and very institutional of learning languages. Like if you are doing something, if you don't know the word, you will be a bad student or a bad learner. Whereas when you are in a foreign country, your main goal is to able to communicate. Like the
that's it.
way it is easier for you, it's not, nobody will punish you if you don't have the word. And maybe that's, I don't know in the other countries, but I remember in France it was very strict, like to be perfect, and it's impossible when it's not your native language to be perfect.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's yeah, you don't have to. to be perfect. You don't. You just don't because you won't. Actually, no matter
Exactly.
how much time you put into learning the language, you will never reach that level where you
Exactly.
feel like I
Exactly.
know everything about the language. No, you will never.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're gonna keep learning, and maybe like passive learning, you're not actually daily learning something, but you're gonna from time to time. I think even spending, let's say, you're living right now in Chile and you're learning Spanish passively. Maybe you're not
Exactly.
actively learning it, but from time to time you're gonna find or like come across a new word or expression
It's every day, Musin.
every day.
Every day I see new words, new expression, and I love it so much. And I always think, oh, I will be like less stupid tonight when I will go to.
Yeah, yeah, it's ongoing. It's ongoing. There is no
Exactly.
end. There is no end. Okay, just to go back to the point of the career thing. Now,
Yes.
I just have this question. Imagine yourself right now or tomorrow unable to speak English, right?
Oh wow.
Unable to
Yeah.
speak it. What would happen? What would change in your life?
Like in my professional life, you say?
Yeah, both, but mainly professional life, yes.
I think professional lives it will have less impact in my professional life because actually, as I told you, like the main language that I speak on a daily basis life is Spanish. But in my personal life, it would be a disaster because I'm a travel lover, like you can't even imagine. I mean, depressed when I can't travel, and I try to travel very far. That's crazy, but like, and for me to not be able to communicate in at least like a common language worldwide, it will be a disaster.
I see. Okay, okay. I the last question.
Yes.
What advice can you give to language learners right now, and what are the common mistakes that you see language learners are making, and you feel like it's better to avoid them?
I think like in every cycle of learning, you have like an exponential phase, then you are like a flat phase. You can also think that you are decreasing, and it's normal. And I think like everybody experience it. So if you experience it, please don't let down, don't let it go. It's normal. And my biggest advice is travel. If you want to learn languages, you have to travel. Open your mind because, as I said at the beginning, it's a state of an attitude, a state of mind that will make you learn the language at the end. Okay, like it's my cat. Sorry.
I see. No
So
worries.
you have to. That, for example, my animals only speak French, and they are from Chile.
They
So
only understand French.
yes, only
Okay.
understand French. Exactly. So travel to be like in good condition to receive the information. Then never let it go. Never go down with your spirit of learner if you think that you are decreasing or having a flat like progression in your language learning. And never be afraid of making mistakes. It's even better. Who doesn't make mistake never learn.
Yeah, exactly.
And try to learn every day more and more because I think if we would be like us, like people of Earth, more interested in languages, it will be so much easier to communicate and maybe to spread more peace into the into this planet.
Okay. All right. Nice. Nice. By the way, as I told you, this is the very first episode. So I hope you enjoyed it,
So
and
much,
thank you
so
so
much.
much. In a couple of days, maybe a week or so, it's gonna be. I'm gonna give you all of the links once published. And thank you so much, and keep in touch.
Keep in touch. Anything you need from me, please text me via LinkedIn. I would be happy to help you.
Same, same. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Have
Have a
a
good
great
weekend.
evening.
Thank
Bye
you. Thank
bye.
you. You too. Bye.